Alaska is one of those places that are so unique that there are a number of things you can only do in Alaska that you just cannot do anywhere else. And before we jump into that list, though, real quick, my name is Jamin Goecker. I'm an associate real estate broker in the state of Alaska, and my mission is to help you to build an intentional and significant legacy for yourself and your family by coaching in real estate. And today, we're going to be giving you that list of the top 9 things that you can only do in Alaska. Make sure you get this video liked, subscribe, do all that good stuff, and let's go and jump into it. The first thing that you can only do in Alaska is being able to see the actual start of the Iditarod. And you can do this at the ceremonial start, which is in Anchorage, or you can actually drive out to Willow and see the start of the Iditarod and kind of this small little community in Willow. And that's really nice because you don't really get the fanfare of what you get over in Anchorage. It's a lot less commercialized because in Anchorage, they have everyone who, pays to be like in the start, like sitting on the sled as it's going through town and everything. And that's really cool. But it's the start of the actual race once it starts out in Willow. And you can actually see the dogs and everything just running right through whatever neighborhood or across the lake, wherever it is that you're positioned. So that's really an awesome experience because you get to see how excited these dogs are to get underway. This is what they're born and bred to do, and they are absolutely happy to be there. I know there are certain organizations that really hate the Iditarod and make it sound like it's this big abusive thing to the dogs, and unless you've actually been there, you just really cannot understand how excited those dogs are to be there. So yes, start of the Iditarod at both the ceremonial start and at the actual start over in Willow, absolute must, and you can only do that in Alaska. All right, this one's a little niche, so kind of bear with me, but you can actually take the train from Anchorage, Alaska, down to Seward, and from there you can hop onto a boat and do a little day cruise to go see the whales and to go see the glaciers and everything else that you can see in the Kenai Fjord National Park, and it is absolutely beautiful and breathtaking. And being able to do that in a day trip, it's going to be a little tight, but also it's something else to be able to do that without necessarily needing to have a car. And the good thing is on the train ride, you still see absolutely breathtaking scenery along the entire way as you're kind of going through the backcountry from Anchorage down into the Kenai Peninsula. So if you haven't done that, you should. It's absolutely incredible. Now, another thing that, you can kind of get this in other places, but Alaska is kind of the premier place, I guess you can say, to get this experience, and that is having sunlight nearly 24/7 during the summertime. And that's great, and you need to get some kind of blackout blinds so you can sleep a little bit better or get some kind of a sleep mask, just to kind of help with that during the summertime. During the wintertime, the shoe's going to be on the other foot, and you're going to have a whole lot more darkness than you probably want. Some people it doesn't impact them, but some people it really does. And you're not going to know who you are till you get here. So yes, the sunlight both and having a lot and then not a whole lot during the wintertime, depending on where you're at, are things that you're pretty much only going to get in Alaska. A big benefit to living to Alaska that you just can't get anywhere else is actually receiving a share of the permanent fund dividend. And what this is a fund that is set aside every year, and it comes from the revenue for the oil. And then the citizens of Alaska who have been here for at least a calendar year actually receive a portion of whatever that dividend is. And usually it's somewhere in the realm of about $12,000 to maybe $2,000 or so. It fluctuates up and down depending on the oil industry and everything that happened the previous year. But it's definitely a good thing to receive if you are living up here and you can actually legally receive it. Another really cool thing about Alaska is there is a much smaller degree of separation between you and everyone else who is a mover and shaker in the state of Alaska. If you just go door knocking, you are probably going to be talking with people who know anyone else that you could possibly see in the news. And it's really a small town when it comes down to it, so that's great. And it also means that if you're used to being in this big city where you can just say and do whatever you want, there's no consequences. Alaska is a small town just as a whole, so mind your P's and Q's, don't act a fool, and just keep in mind it's really cool that there's a really small degree of separation, and that can also be a bad thing if you're acting a fool out in public. So just keep that in mind. All right, now let's go and take a break real quick. For those of you who've been watching for a little bit, you'll notice that we kind of have some new backgrounds going on here, and you'll notice, we've got the boom arm and everything else here. That's because I recently moved into a new studio that I actually created. So this is filming within my new Alpenglow studio, and it is available for the public. So if you are looking for an opportunity to maybe create some content of your own for whatever topic, feel free to go ahead and reach out to me on my website. Link for the Alpenglow studio is going to be in the description section down below, and we'll talk a little bit and see how best we can help you. And also, if you're thinking about moving to Alaska and you'd like a copy of my relocation guide, do reach out to me on my real estate website. Link for that is going to be in the description section down below, and just put relocation guide in the comment section so I know what to send you. Now, let's go and finish up today's video. All right, now this next one I'm a little salty about, and I'll explain why. And that is, you can see polar bears in Alaska. Now, I'm a little salty about this because I made the trip all the way from kind of the Anchorage, Wasilla, up to Barrow, Alaska, specifically so we could see the polar bears. And we got to see the northern Arctic Ocean as well, so that's something, but made the whole trip to go up there and did not see a single polar bear while we were there. So, they have pretty gnarly reputation. So if you have the option to see one when you don't want to see one versus not seeing it when you do want to see it, definitely got the good end of the stick there for sure. I definitely prefer that. But it would still be nice to be able to see it from a good, safe distance at some other point. So yes, polar bears, unfortunately, I've not seen any myself. Or maybe fortunately, just depending on the situation, I guess. All right, no list talking about the things you can only do in Alaska would be complete without talking about Denali National Park. So Denali, or as it's sometimes known, Mount McKinley, but usually Denali is the largest mountain in North America, and there's an entire national park all the way around it, and it kind of serves as this little wildlife, well, not little, but this wildlife refuge. And so a lot of the wilderness out there has been pretty well preserved, and you can go out there and see the caribou, the bear, the moose, and really it's kind of a piece of Alaska that's been super well preserved. Really, the entire state's been pretty well preserved, but especially Denali National Park. So that's definitely something you want to take time to go and do if you do find yourself in Alaska. All right, I'm going to give you this next one, and I'm a little hesitant because somebody else famously made a quote about this particular topic before and got all sorts of lambasted in the news. But the cool thing about Alaska is your neighbors actually are other countries, not other states. We've got Canada on one side, we've got Russia across the Bering Sea, and obviously you've got all the other countries that are right there in the Arctic. But our neighbors are other countries and not other states, and that's something you really only get in Alaska. Now, last but not least, the cool thing about Alaska is you can actually go to the most northern point in the United States, which that's going to be Barrow, right there in the Arctic, and you can go to the most western point as well, which is technically Attu Island. It's not populated anymore. There was a whole battle that was fought out there during World War II. It's far, far out on the Aleutian chain. But you can still go there it's definitely quite a bit of work to get there, but you can still technically do that. So that's something only Alaska has, being able to say we're the most northern and the most western state in the entire Union. So this has been my list talking about the top 9 things you can only do in Alaska. I sure hope it's been useful. If it has, make sure you give this video a like, subscribe, do all that good stuff, tell all your friends, and we will see you next time.